You wake up in the middle of the night, not because of a noise or a bad dream, but because your hand feels dead. It is a heavy, lifeless object attached to your arm, prickling with a sensation that feels like 1,000 tiny needles dancing under your skin. You shake it out, rubbing the life back into it, telling yourself you just slept on it wrong. But then it happens while you are driving, a subtle numbness creeping into your toes. It happens while you are holding a coffee cup, and suddenly your grip feels unsure, weak, and clumsy. You might notice a burning sensation in the soles of your feet, or a strange feeling that you are walking on thick wool socks or cotton balls even when you are barefoot. For millions of people over the age of 60, these symptoms are terrifying. The immediate fear is a stroke, or perhaps the onset of diabetes. When you go to the doctor, they might check your blood sugar, tell you your circulation is slowing down due to age, or suggest you take some magnesium for muscle cramps. But for many of you, those diagnoses are wrong, and the magnesium supplements will do absolutely nothing to stop the tingling. You are not suffering from a lack of blood flow, and you are not just getting old. You are suffering from a starving nervous system. Specifically, your nerves are crying out for a critical nutrient that acts as the insulation for your body's electrical wiring. Without it, your nerves begin to short-circuit, leading to that maddening numbness and eventual permanent damage. We are talking about the silent epidemic of vitamin B12 deficiency, a condition that mimics serious neurological diseases but can often be reversed with the right foods. Today, we are going to uncover why your body stops absorbing this vitamin as you age and reveal the specific foods you must eat to repair your nerve endings and get your feeling back. To understand why your hands and feet go numb, you have to visualize the anatomy of a nerve. Imagine your nerves are like the electrical cables running through your house. In your house, the copper wire carries the electricity, but that wire is wrapped in a plastic or rubber coating to protect it and ensure the signal travels fast and doesn't leak out. In your body, that copper wire is the axon, and the protective coating is a fatty substance called the myelin sheath. This myelin sheath is absolutely vital. It ensures that when your brain says, "Move big toe," the signal gets there instantly. Vitamin B12 is the primary nutrient your body uses to build and repair this myelin insulation. When you don't have enough B12, the myelin sheath begins to erode. It cracks and peels away, leaving the raw nerve exposed. This is called demyelination. When the insulation is gone, the electrical signals misfire. They slow down, or they get garbled. That is exactly what the pins and needles sensation is. It is the feeling of a nerve short-circuiting. If this continues for too long, the nerve dies completely, leading to permanent loss of sensation and balance issues. The tragedy of B12 deficiency in seniors is that it is rarely caused by a lack of food, but rather a failure of the stomach. You see, vitamin B12 is a very large, complex molecule. It is difficult to absorb. To get it from your food into your blood, your stomach needs to produce a very strong acid and a special protein called intrinsic factor. Think of intrinsic factor as a bodyguard that finds B12 in your food, holds its hand, and escorts it safely through your digestive system to be absorbed. As we age, the lining of the stomach naturally thins out, a condition called atrophic gastritis. We produce less acid and less intrinsic factor. Furthermore, many seniors are on medications that destroy stomach acid, such as proton pump inhibitors for acid reflux, or metformin for diabetes. These drugs essentially shut the door on B12 absorption. You could be eating a steak every night, but if you don't have the stomach acid to break it down and the intrinsic factor to transport it, you are starving on a full stomach. This is why you can have normal iron levels but critically low B12 levels. This brings us to the solution, which is twofold. We need to choose foods that are so densely packed with B12 that even with reduced absorption, you get what you need, and we need to heal the gut environment. The first and most powerful food for nerve repair is beef liver. I know many people recoil at the thought of liver. It has fallen out of favor in the modern diet, replaced by muscle meats like chicken breast and steak. But from a nutritional perspective, liver is not meat, it is a multivitamin. A single 3-ounce serving of beef liver contains over 1000% of your daily recommended value of vitamin B12. It is the most concentrated source in nature. Because the concentration is so high, it overcomes the absorption barrier through a process called passive diffusion. Even if your intrinsic factor is low, if you flood the system with enough B12, some of it will get through. Liver also contains copper and iron, which work synergistically with B12 to maintain healthy blood and nerves. If you absolutely cannot stomach the taste of liver and onions, you can hide it. Grind a small amount of liver into your ground beef when making chili or meatballs. You won't taste it, but your nerves will feel it. If liver is off the table, your next best option is clams and other shellfish. Clams are essentially nature's B12 bombs. A small bowl of clams provides dozens of times the amount of B12 found in a steak. But clams offer something else that is crucial for seniors with numbness: zinc. Zinc is a mineral that supports the immune system and helps in the synthesis of DNA, which is necessary for nerve regeneration. Often, people with peripheral neuropathy, that numbness in the hands and feet, are deficient in both zinc and B12. A simple clam chowder or a pasta with mussels can provide a massive therapeutic dose of both. Oysters and crabs are also excellent sources. These foods are particularly beneficial because the B12 in seafood is often more bioavailable, meaning easier to absorb, than the B12 in tough red meat fibers, especially for those with weaker stomach acid. The third category of food you must include is fatty fish, specifically sardines, mackerel, and salmon. These fish provide a double benefit. First, they are rich in vitamin B12. A tin of sardines gives you more than 3 times your daily requirement. Second, and this is the secret weapon, they are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA and EPA. Remember that the myelin sheath, the insulation around your nerves, is made of fat. You need high-quality fats to rebuild it. Omega-3s reduce the systemic inflammation that is attacking the nerves, while B12 provides the raw material for the repair. It is a construction crew where B12 is the brick and omega-3 is the mortar. If you have numbness, you should be trying to eat these fatty fish at least 3 times a week. If you buy canned sardines or salmon, get them with the bones in. The soft bones provide calcium, which is essential for the transmission of nerve signals. For those who rely on eggs, there is good news, but only if you eat them correctly. Chicken eggs are a solid source of B12, but the vitamin is found almost exclusively in the yolk. The white is protein, the yolk is nutrition. However, studies have shown that the B12 in eggs is somewhat less absorbable than the B12 in fish or meat. To maximize absorption, you should eat eggs with other B12 foods or ensure your gut acid is strong. One simple trick to improve digestion and absorption of B12 from eggs, and all proteins, is to drink a small glass of water with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar before your meal. The acid in the vinegar helps mimic your natural stomach acid, breaking down the proteins and releasing the B12 so your body can actually use it. Now, we must address the vegetarians and vegans, or those who simply do not eat much animal product. Vitamin B12 is the one nutrient that you cannot get from plants. There is no B12 in spinach, kale, or avocados. The only non-animal source is fortified nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast looks like yellow flakes and has a cheesy, nutty flavor. It is often fortified with synthetic B12. While it is better than nothing, it is important to know that the form of B12 in fortified foods is usually cyanocobalamin, a synthetic form that is harder for the body to use. The body has to work to convert it into the active form, methylcobalamin. If you are relying on yeast or supplements, always look for the word methylcobalamin on the label. This is the active, nature-identical form that can go straight to work repairing your myelin sheath without stressing your liver. Beyond the numbness, how do you know if you are B12 deficient? The symptoms often start long before the hands go numb. One of the classic signs is a change in the texture of your tongue. It might become smooth, red, and swollen, losing the little bumps, papillae. This is called glossitis. Another sign is balance issues. If you find yourself stumbling when you close your eyes, like in the shower when you wash your hair, that is a sign that your proprioception, your nerve's ability to tell your brain where your body is in space, is failing due to B12 deficiency. You might also experience brain fog, memory lapses, or extreme fatigue that sleep doesn't fix. These are not separate problems, they are all the result of the same electrical failure in your body. If you have severe numbness, dietary changes are essential, but they might not be fast enough if your absorption is completely blocked. In this case, you need to bypass the stomach entirely. This is where sublingual B12 drops or lozenges come in. You place them under your tongue, and the vitamin is absorbed directly into the bloodstream through the capillaries in your mouth, skipping the stomach acid problem completely. This can be a game changer for seniors on acid-reducing medication. However, do not stop eating the B12-rich foods. The foods provide the cofactors, the proteins, the fats, the iron, that you cannot get from a pill. Healing the nerves is a slow process. Unlike skin, which heals in days, nerves heal in months. The myelin sheath rebuilds slowly. Once you start correcting your B12 levels through liver, fish, shellfish, and perhaps supplementation, do not expect the numbness to vanish overnight. You might first notice that the pins and needles sensation actually gets slightly more intense. Paradoxically, this is a good sign. It means a dead nerve is waking up and starting to fire again. Over the course of 3 to 6 months, the sensation should normalize, your balance should improve, and the heavy, wooden feeling in your limbs should recede. Your body is incredibly resilient, but it cannot build a house without bricks. If you are experiencing numbness, tingling, or weakness, do not accept it as a permanent sentence of aging. It is a signal. Your body is telling you the lights are flickering because the wiring is frayed. By putting liver, fatty fish, and eggs back on the menu, and by supporting your stomach acid, you are giving your nervous system the insulation it needs to carry the signal clearly again. You have the power to reconnect the wires, you just have to feed them.